Welcome to the first ever episode of the BoyBeat Podcast, where we talk about all things beauty, culture, and everything in between. I'm Styx, a beauty writer and expert, and y'all, I've got some things to say. Let's get into it. First, we're going to start off this first episode coming in hot by saying we don't need any more Black owned beauty brands. Now, before you get all up in the loop and you say, who is he? Why does he get to say things like that? Let me run you down my track record. If you're new here, welcome. If you grew here, thank you. So, getting into it, I have worked in the beauty industry for over 13 years. Listen, I started off working at L'Oreal, worked there for a few years. I worked at It Cosmetics specifically. And then I went over to Glossier, where that's really where I got the whole thing. I was immersed all into the beauty industry from an indie beauty space, right? And so um, here's 2020. I'm working at Glossier. We have George Floyd. We have all of the civil unrest happening. And myself and my colleagues at the time, we all were like, we need to do something. We're in this beauty space. And as you know, for Black and Brown people, there are very far and few in between of us, right? And specifically for Black people and Black men, there were really none of us in the beauty industry at the time that during this time. And even when I started in 2015 at L'Oreal, I was the only Black guy on the team. So there's that. And so now we have this space of George Floyd, and it was Sharon Chuter who really put the mirror up to the beauty industry and was like, hey, if you really care about us, if you really hear us, if you really see us, then let us know how many Black and Brown people you have working in the space. Let us know their roles. Are they C-suite? What are they being paid? It was all of those things, right? And so going back to what myself and my colleagues did, we created the Black grant on the beauty grant initiative program, the Black owned beauty grant initiative program, where Edom, brands like Edom and other brands that were birthed out of it. I'm having a brain fog because it was 2020, but we curated and consulted with all of these Black and Brown, specifically Black owned beauty businesses that are still around today. So when I say that we don't need any more Black owned beauty brands, it's not to say that if you are building a brand right now, you shouldn't do it. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I want to emphasize is that instead of building a brand, we need more community. And that is what I mean when I say we don't need any more Black owned beauty brands. And some could say, oh, this is something all across the board for all Black brands. And two things can be true at once, but I can only specifically speak to beauty because I've worked in this space for 13 years exclusively, you know? And so I've paid my dues, I've seen the things. So when I speak on this, I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying. And so going back to we need more community over commodity. We've gotten to this place to where it is cool to have a brand. Do your thing, get your coins. People want the notoriety. People want to be famous. People want to be viral. People want their names to be household names, and rightfully so. I'm not saying that that is not something to aspire to, but it can't be the only thing that you are aspiring to. In this space, there are so many brands popping up every day on the beauty front that we full. Do we need another lipstick? Do we need another mascara? Do we need another body butter? No, we don't need any of these things. But what I do appreciate in that vein, especially for the Black beauty brand, we have the power of choice. And so I'm going to speak to that later, but let me just focus on the part of commodity versus community. My girl, Alumide, who founded topicals. And let me preface this by saying that I think Alameda is one of the brightest Black women in the beauty space that I personally know. I know this girl, and she did a great thing to where she created a funding program. She created this whole incubator and she bought Bread Beauty Supply. You all know what Bread Beauty Supply is. It was the, or is the, one of the most luxe editorial hair care brands that we've seen in a long time. Because when we think of hair care, especially as it pertains to the Black woman, the Black community, it's always so, the imagery, the vibe, the feel is never as high end and as complex and as nuanced. It's so many things, right? And so that's not to say that there's anything wrong with the Black hair care brands that we have, because we have some really good hair care brands, but they fit this one particular mold. That's what it is. And with Bread Beauty, they were outside of the box. They are outside of the box. And so Alameda, she acquired this brand. Okay. They Bread Beauty already has a specific identity. And I will say any brands that are birthed outside of America, the UK brands specifically, they got it. They got it. And us girlies in America, we do our things, don't get me wrong. But the girls in the UK and beyond, they got it. But Mava, she's from Australia, so that's a whole nother thing. And she has a whole different, outside of her racial makeup, she has a whole other just creative lens to tap into that, child, we don't have access to over here in these United States, okay? And it was very telling in the way that her brand told its story. Okay, so moving forward, Alameda, she acquired the brand. Now, Topicals also is one of those brands that just gets it. They do the things. And that's, it could be in part that Alameda is Nigerian American, and we know the Nigerian girls give it up. We know it. So Topicals has etched out its own identity, its own path in the skincare space, and it has a certain archetype of consumer. And you know the Topicals girl when you see her. You know the Topicals boy. Girl is gender neutral. I don't even have to break that down. You know the Topicals girl. You know it. Okay, so she acquired this brand, and about a month or two ago, she got on the internet and the brand had released a new launch. And she made a viral video. It was like, oh, story time about I released a product and it flopped. Immediately, my antennas went up. I was like, no, girl, you're losing the plot. You're losing the plot because, you know, we I don't want, I never want to see our brands go to the internet in disparity. You down on your luck, and now you're like, y'all please buy this, y'all please buy this. Because what will happen is when because now you're the face of this brand. We see you, we relate that to Bread Beauty Supply. Whatever it is now, we are relating you to that. Okay? And so now that you've made this video, and let me say, I'm not saying that this is what she did, but this is where my psyche goes to. This is where my thought logic goes. So you get on TikTok, you put your video out, and all the girls are like, oh, you should have done this. You should have done that. You should do this. You should do that. And you're like, all the girls are like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know it existed. Blah, 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 blah. So you're getting marketing advice, and then you're getting the sympathy pause of it all, right? And so what any girl would do is put all of those things that the girls were saying in the comment section, copy and paste all of that into Claude, and make your go-to-market strategy. And I'm not saying that that's what she did, but where was the go-to-market strategy, sister? Like, This literally cannot be your plan. And I did comment on the post because I'm like, girl, like, did you pull your editorial levers? Like, the Black editorial girls in this space, we still have pull, you know? So it was so many things wrong with that whole thing. And it was a case of young CEO oversight. I've been a victim of it. When I worked at Glossier, everyone was really young. Emily was young. The whole team, we're all extremely, extremely, extremely young, right? And so you have young CEO oversight. And this is what I mean when I say, instead of focusing on the business and treating it as a commodity, you need to be focused on the community of it all. Black owned beauty brands, we have all seen them go after the most viral things, the most popping places, the most like anything that has notoriety with Blackness, they're going to attach themselves to it, child. When we think of, I went to HBCU. I went to a small private HBCU, which was in the country. Nobody really knows of this unless you live in these spaces, right? And what happens is when our brands show up, we want to go to Howard. We want to go to Clark Atlanta. We want to go to Spelman. We want to go to FAMU. But there are over 109 HBCUs. At this point, it's laziness. It is low-hanging fruit to only focus on those schools because of their visibility. I am a byproduct of Lane College and Payne College, both 1882s, both rivals. And Lane College is in the hood in Jackson, Tennessee, and so is Payne College in Augusta, Georgia, where James Brown was born. And for the most part, the girls only really know Augusta, Georgia because of Sutton Strack and Erica Jane from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And that speaks to the white side of it, you know? So our brands are not showing up on these campuses, giving these young minds the opportunity, the visibility. And it does have its impact. When I was in college, what I do now, I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing, because we didn't have anyone coming to our campuses. We didn't have anyone coming to Lemoyne On in Memphis, Tennessee. We didn't have anybody going to Philander Smith, UAPB, Jackson State University, Alcorn State University. We didn't have anybody showing up for us on these campuses because no one outside of our alumni were doing the things in these spaces, the media entertainment space. They probably were, but they were doing it at a local level. But at a national level, no one was doing that. So those brand partnerships from Met Cosmetics and the Glossiers and the all these brands that are just the Road Beauty, all of these brands that are just popping today, even back then, no one was showing up for us. And we didn't know that we could also be a part of these campaigns, that we could do these very things, build a brand. We didn't know that. And so it is up to our Black owned brands now to really show up for us in all aspects. And that is community. Because when you show up, at the Howards, at the Spelmans, at the Clark Atlantas, you're pushing the agenda of you just want your brand to be seen. You see this as a commodity. You're not really focused on building community. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Because if you did, you would do more research than what Google AI is telling you. And it goes deeper. It goes further than just showing up at HBCUs. But HBCUs are the nucleus of Black culture. Let's not forget that. No shade to the people that went to PWIs and things like that. Like, get your education, go where you need to go. But let's not forget, because even when we think about now what's going on with the Howard situation and all of that, and people make that a point to be like, oh, that's why I went to PWI. Shut up. Because that's a part of the problem. That's y'all anti-black. Y'all be just be acting anti-black. But back to the point at hand, we need to really highlight the importance of our HBCUs because HBCUs, that's the culture, babe. So yeah, I charge the black-owned beauty brands to be showing up in these spaces unapologetically. And because you have the right to do that. There's no reason why, we see the same faces. We see the same schools year in, year out. And then as an editor, as a journalist, y'all come to me and like, yep, we showed up at Howard. We did that. Okay. And I didn't go to Howard. No shade. I didn't go to Howard. I matriculated. That's the HBCU word. I matriculated through Payne College. Lane College is where I got my start. Okay, so did you go there? I would even take it if you went to Alabama State. Not everybody goes to Alabama. But the schools are there, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Tuskegee. The girls are not showing up. And then y'all want to holler community. Girl. And don't even get me started on these community events, child. I have the privilege of being invited to so many different events. But when it comes to the black brands, child, it be feeling, child. Let me tell you what I do feel. And this may not be true, but this is what I feel. And because there are not many other black men in the space, other black men that work in the media, beauty space, entertainment, content creator, journalist, whatever. If we are LGBTQ plus and all of that, girl, y'all do not be checking for us. It gives FAGGET. That's what y'all want to say to us when we come. It feels like that. Because when I make noise and I'm like, yeah, what are y'all doing for the black men? Immediately, y'all go to, oh, we got a grooming. We doing grooming. We doing, shaving. Girl, I do not grow facial hair. Girl, I wash my head, but I don't have long hair. And just because I have a fade don't mean that I don't want to be invited to the Fenty hair event. Like, girl, she can wash my scalp. Whoever. I want to try the new product, Yeah, and I don't wear men's cologne. First of all, beauty is for everyone. So I'm not tied to the idea of this needs to be a man cologne. This is for women. I didn't grow up like that. I didn't have that type of upbringing. You like what you like, and that's it, right? So, when you dumb us down to just this specific men's grooming category, you literally are erasing me, my identity, how I show up. That's not community, babe. That's homophobia. And when you call it out, people try to make you feel crazy. You be like, hey, y'all, I think that's not right. It's a little anti-black. It's a little homophobic. And then y'all like, no, it's not. Where's the community in it? And again, going back to community, another reason why we don't need these black-owned beauty brands is because what happens is we're so tired of y'all telling us that you got this ritual from your Meemaw and her Meemaw, And, it was birthed because I didn't see the shadows of the ark of the. No, we need more because today to build a brand, it takes more. It takes more than whatever story that just happened in your family. And so, with that said, I want to charge us to show up better, be better, and look at our brands as more community than commodity. Until next time.